my go?
Yes.
Okay. It's been a while since we've done this.
I know.
I feel kind of awkward now.
Feels weird.
You know how this is how I felt last time.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Hello. Welcome to Hatching 13. Yeah? Okay.
Probably.
Hatching is a podcast about early stage ideas, experiments, and then a lot about our company, Need Want. I'm Marshall Haas.
I'm David Myers.
I'm John Wheatley.
Cool. It's been a while since we did this.
It's been almost a month, I think.
Yeah. So we're in a new location.
Wow.
Obviously, if you're watching the video, I noticed, we should close the window. Will you unplug and run to close the window?
Go on.
All right, pad.
Go on.
Keep talking.
Okay.
Yeah,
Anyways.
so it's been a really long time.
When was the last one? It was right when you moved here.
Yeah.
So what,
That
a month
was
ago?
Before the holidays.
Thanks.
Well before the holidays.
Yeah. 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 Holidays were busy, and then obviously we all left.
Twix.
Yep.
All right. I think we're good.
Bad.
I just want to make sure everyone's.
The whole thing, you have no audio.
No.
Oh god.
Oh,
wait,
because
wait,
I'm
wait.
sitting on them.
This is fine.
Well, but if I adjust, I think it's gonna.
All right. I think we're good.
Are we all? Hello.
Hello.
All right.
Good?
Okay.
This hasn't been the. Yeah, be careful with that. The smoothest introduction ever. But did you have a nice Christmas, Marshall and David?
I had a very nice Christmas. It was very
good.
quiet.
Yeah.
I got sick on New Year's. Also my birthday.
Mm-hmm. How old are you?
25.
Cool.
Nice.
27?
Yeah, I just relaxed. 25. Yeah.
You actually drove cross country. You drove all the way here from San Francisco,
Yep. California to here.
and then you're here for like 3 days or something.
Something like that. Drove all the way to New York. So I can say I drove across the country.
Do you
That's
hate
pretty
driving
cool.
now?
I haven't driven my car since.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
I came back
actually.
here.
I have noticed that.
So it's something to be said for that.
Was it fun? Did you enjoy driving across the country, or was it just kind of horrible?
The first half of I did like 10-hour drives. First 5 hours was good. Then it starts to get kind of dark.
Yeah.
Then it's not so good.
What was the
But it was
longest?
fun. I'm glad I did it.
The longest stretch you did in one go in terms of time driving.
12 hours.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That sounds
I
horrible.
couldn't do too much more.
I think the most I've ever done is like 8, and that.
And that's not.
that
It's
was-
not too bad.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
You want to hear my worst?
Yeah.
My cousin, who's like my brother, just got some surgery where he couldn't drive, but he was like super antsy. He's from Kokomo, Indiana. And he like woke me up. It was like summer. He's like, hey, do you want to go to Kokomo for like the weekend?
Yeah.
And so I had to drive because he couldn't. I think it was 16 or 17 hours straight.
From Texas.
Yeah.
From Texas.
Yeah.
Was Kokomo? Wait. You're going to Kokomo?
Indiana. Yeah.
Was it awesome there?
Yeah.
Okay. It sounds like
people,
a tropical island.
No.
It
It's
does.
like cornfields galore.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool because the people were really cool.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not a destination at all.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Good.
Anyways.
Well, I'm glad we've had.
Enough small talk.
Down to business.
Wait, you had a big trip. You had the most interesting Christmas
I went to London.
for like 3 weeks in Paris too, right?
Didn't go to Paris.
Oh.
I was going to go to Paris.
Oh.
Booked an Airbnb and everything in Paris, but we left booking the flights till last minute, and they were ridiculously expensive. And we were going to get into Paris, like something like 10:50 p.m. on New Year's Eve.
Sounds
So
awesome.
we were like, we don't want to
Yeah.
fuck with that,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we just didn't.
What'd you
Anyway,
hang on. What'd you do for New Year's Eve?
I suppose we can talk about this.
Yeah.
Saw some friends, saw some family.
Cool.
Just like hung out.
You got dinner with Victoria?
Just dinner and drinks. We're staying at an Airbnb.
Oh yeah, you did.
And we got back. I guess the host thought that they were going to get back before we did, because we actually got back before 12 o'clock.
Mhm.
We were just going to kind of go back, just like watch the fireworks from like the window, like very kind of low key. They left the alarm on, so we opened the door and this alarm just starts going off like so loudly.
It's terrible.
So loudly.
Yeah.
We got up into the room, and then like you could. It wasn't just in the house. It was just blasting out into the street at a ridiculous volume.
And that was right before.
That was about
right?
11:50 when
Yeah.
that happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so annoying.
So we were just like, well, the police are probably going to come, and we're going to just miss New Year's, but they didn't. Everything was
Nice.
fine.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
good.
kind of a very anticlimactic story, but yeah, it was fun.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah, me and Jason, operations guy. We should have him on here.
I agree.
Let's do the next one.
Yeah, okay.
We'll do a little round table,
Yeah.
all four of us.
Cool.
We had an intimate dinner.
Oh, that's nice.
We got dinner at like Blood and Sand and just got
So
drinks.
New Year's and your birthday in
New Year's Eve.
in one go. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then I woke up sick.
Yeah, for your birthday.
I was hungover. That became me getting sick though.
Yeah, it's not good.
Well, anyways, I
Let's see
think
what we
so.
got.
I think the last podcast we talked about holiday sales numbers and like predictions going into.
I think it was actually 2 ago,
Mm,
but we never
Yeah.
actually followed up on it.
yeah, so we made some predictions. I think we said like we hope at least minimum 40 or 50 or
I think
something like
that's
that.
what we said. I haven't checked, but I think that's what we said, yeah.
I have the numbers. It was just shy. So this is Thanksgiving Day to. I think this is actually through end of January. We're going to say through Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Is just shy of.
Wait. Through the end of December.
Yes.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. It was just shy of 70K. So it was about, I think it was on par with our best month ever. The Emoji Mask month in October was our best. Because
Yeah.
like 3 or 4 things were like all going crazy at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
iPhone 6 had just launched and Emoji Mask just launched.
Yeah.
That's
What product did best? Do you know?
I don't know, actually.
I think
Peel, probably.
Probably.
Mod, yeah, PO on web sales, but we had a good PO from a wholesale order for Mod
Oh, okay.
that might bring it equal. But yeah, I would say they're pretty close.
Do you think in hindsight you would have done anything different? Are we, are we going to stick to the exact same plan next year?
No, I think we'll have some like, I want to get more creative. We did like the standard email blasts.
Mhm.
Like, got a sale this day, now we got a sale this day, Merry Christmas, you know? I think we can get more creative and like do some build up and do something special, like some special
Special
edition
edition
just for
type
Christmas. And
Yeah.
Do you remember
Yeah.
the what was it? The Cards Against Humanity. Remember their thing for the
holiday
holidays?
bullshit thing?
You did
Yeah.
that, right?
I did it last year.
this year was, they actually sent you actual poo.
Poo.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I think they positioned it as something like,
They sent 13,000 people.
we'll send you some bullshit like that, for like $15. Everyone's
Gotcha.
like, all right, yeah, I'll get some bullshit, and it was literally bullshit that they sent you,
wow.
which is cool.
As in like poo
It's a good-
from bowls?
Yeah.
It's a good little marketing thing anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not that in particular. But your year, wasn't it 12 days of
I did it too.
gifts?
Yeah. The
Yeah.
coolest gift
Which is
out of those
cool- which
12
is a
days
cool
was
idea.
they sent you a card with your name on it.
For the deck, for Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which is
nice.
awesome. And
That's
actually,
cool.
I sold that deck when I moved to St. Louis. And I love thinking that there's like someone somewhere
Yeah.
who just like owns this deck.
No
with
one's
just
gonna get
a
it.
rogue John Wheatley card. It's just
Yeah.
like, who is this guy? I don't know who this guy is.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks it's like some obscure, like kind of famous, like,
Like Paul Bundy figure or
I
something.
don't know who that is, but that's a good example. Then. Yeah.
The card that never wins.
Yeah.
Card that never wins.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is cool. I would like to do something like that.
Yeah.
I would like to do
I mean, it was our first holiday season as a company.
hmm
We just kind of know what to expect.
Yeah. It's good to have a base point
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Like, this is what it's like if it's kind of standard-ish.
Yeah.
and
Plus,
then kinda-
we were just like working on a bunch of other stuff as well. Like, next year, I want to like kind of, okay, Christmas is coming. We're not going to work on anything else. Like, we're going to work on Christmas stuff. Like, we're new office stuff.
Mhm.
Quad Jarvis. Like,
yeah. That we got that like on Thanksgiving Day, I think.
Yeah.
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 So that was definitely a big distraction. I like
Mhm.
your shoes.
My shoes?
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks.
Anyway, that's an update on our sales
Yeah.
numbers.
Yeah.
I just wanted to.
So we should also talk about the mod kiosk.
Which was also going on during the holiday
Yeah.
season.
Yeah. So, well, let's back up. The kiosk was an experiment to see if it just would be profitable, which, you know, we thought is a possibility. And if it is, there's 1,000 malls in America and you just like begin scaling up.
I think we talked about this in the episode where we talked about we were going to be doing it, but there's this like magic number which I think was 8, like 8 notebooks per day.
Yeah.
And if we sell 8 notebooks per day, that covers like staffing, rent.
Mm.
Anything above 8 notebooks is like is great.
Mhm.
And at the
Yeah.
time we looked at that and we were like,
Yeah,
That doesn't
easy.
sound too bad.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah.
So it was an
Yeah.
experiment.
So yeah, it was. If it's profitable, it's great. It was also like an experiment to kind of test normal people, and like seeing a notebook and trying to like pitch it to them and seeing the reaction and like what they understand and like what they don't. So you and I worked it. We had a lot of other people working it and kind of relaying all that information. But I think we learned a lot too. Like when we go to redesign the website later on, we'll know how to like use different headlines and better explanations to explain it, because it's kind of a complicated product to explain.
Yeah. Especially to non-web people.
Right.
Like,
right.
what does sync to the cloud mean? What is
Yeah,
that?
you have to like explain so much other stuff. They don't understand that.
You also have to kind of start from zero too. It's like when someone's on the website, usually they were linked somewhere.
Yeah.
So they kind of have like some additional context. Like maybe someone told them about it. Maybe
Yeah.
like they just have more context. Whereas like pitching someone in person,
Yeah.
when all they see is just like a notebook, like you have to start from completely zero.
Right. Right.
Which kind of changes how you have to pitch it, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, so how's the kiosk doing, Marshall?
It's about to be dead. The end of the lease is through January, end of January this month. And from a profitability standpoint, total failure. From a learning standpoint, a grand success.
Yeah.
So I think that was our first like big experiment that we like, okay, this is like kind of a gamble.
Yeah.
We kind of haven't really lost any money in any other things, but I have the actual sales numbers as well so we actually killed it. Do you remember how long ago we stopped staffing it? So we have a 3-month lease, and we actually converted it into just kind of like an advertisement right now to end the lease, because the biggest expense is people working it, and if it's not profitable, once we just like made the call and like took off all the people working it.
Yeah. So now it's just there
So,
with no one working on it.
Yeah,
It's
I want to
just
say it wasn't even a full 2 months that we had people working it, because we just pretty quickly figured out.
yeah, it's about a month and a half.
Yeah, and we even probably would have killed it sooner. We were holding out for like closer to Christmas when we thought it would pick up.
Yeah.
So, should I just say it?
Yeah.
Do you have any guesses?
I mean, I kind of know what it is roughly.
I don't even want to hear your guesses, because it's going to be wrong.
I'll lowball it. I'll be
I
like,
can
two.
tell you, I thought it was going to be more.
Oh, same.
And even, because I remember I worked the first shift, and I worked, I think, like
3 or 4 hours.
3 or 4 hours.
First day.
And we sold 3.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're like,
in
cool.
that. And I was like, all
on
right,
track.
this could work. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
That was actually the best
Yeah.
sales day ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is kind of hilarious. Yeah, like
I think we sold 4 that day. One
Yeah,
after you left.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was surprising.
Yeah.
All right. What do we have?
So this is not full 3 months. I don't even think it's 60 days, but we had 23 orders. Some of those orders are multiple notebooks, $803 in revenue. And for context, I think Mod was doing about at least 10K in sales a month
Yeah.
during that period on through Shopify and the website.
It's funny, we would go like weeks without selling any.
Yeah.
There'd be literally, well, maybe not weeks, but there'd be like a week where we just wouldn't sell any. And there were
Yeah.
people working
the
there
kiosk,
like all
yeah.
day, just like trying to sell these things,
Mhm.
and we
Yeah.
just wouldn't sell any for a whole
Yeah.
week.
It's still teetering. I think it's too niche.
For something like, for a situation like that.
Yeah.
You think mod is just too niche for a mall scenario?
I think now, if I was to like be forced into trying to make a kiosk work,
yeah.
it would be something like an emoji mask that I would sell there, where like
They
you
just
walk
see it and
by,
you're like, oh,
you
I get
get
what
it
this is.
instantly. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Or like, we were walking by some guy in Boston that threw something at the ground. I think it was like this little egg gooey thing, and he throws it at your feet as you walk by. It gets your attention, and then you look down, you instantly get it because it just like goes totally flat, and it's like
Yeah.
you spilled an egg or something.
It's the weirdest.
It is.
product.
You're like, oh cool,
We talked to
$1,
that guy.
like I'll buy that.
Can you remember how much he said he made?
So he was pretty foreign, and there might have been some language barrier.
I mean, I don't believe his
But I
numbers.
think he was saying he was selling like 300 units a day on like a slow day.
Whoa.
Yeah, and they're like, how much were they each? Like $5 each.
I think it was like, yeah, 1 for 2 or like 3 for
Yeah.
5. I think is what it was.
3 for 5.
Yeah. So that's like $1,500 a day or something.
Yeah.
It was over $1,000
It's a lot
a
of
day.
money.
It's a big difference.
And it's like the shittest little like thing ever.
Like I did the math. You could in a year it was like 250K minimum times 10 malls, and you're at like 2.5 million. Like you have $1 million a year revenue business selling like
just
a
these
shitty
little
little
less than a cent little thing. That,
Yeah.
kids play with $5.
But it was a perfect thing because like everyone tries to ignore you as you walk by these things, and the guys that like are like hustle, they like do something to kind of get your attention. They're annoying, and this guy like could throw it at your feet. You're like, oh, kind of catches you off, and you look at it and you're like, I understand the product now.
Yeah.
So that was a
smart idea.
that was a disappointment. Not everything works.
It was interesting.
Yeah, good to know.
Yeah,
It's a good thing to know.
We definitely learn a lot. It was interesting. Like we now know like kind of how much the whole process costs. Like, and I wouldn't rule it out as like a potential sales channel for something that isn't, like you said, as niche as mod is.
yeah.
Because I mean, clearly there are people that make it work and they make money, and
Yeah.
it just wasn't really a good fit.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the kiosk update.
And the ending.
Yeah.
That's it. Cool. So we coming to the new year, we decided to do this thing, which is basically like to set 5 to 10 goals to do over a 60-day period. And the idea is just like to have this rolling basis. So the first period is like beginning of January to beginning of March. I think we're going to talk about a few of these goals during that period. But before we do, I just want to say like the idea behind this is, what was the guy's name? John Doerr?
Yeah.
So basically John Doerr pioneered like this kind of idea, I think inside like Intel. And it's based on this like complicated system called OKRs. And it's like objectives and key results. And it's like, we want to achieve this, and it like this objective equals this thing, and you track them, and like, it's this whole complicated mess that's like very corporate. And this is just like an extreme simplification of that. It's just like, what do we want to do? 60 days will hit, we'll pause and reflect, and then set new goals.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just nice to have some kind of structure, because before it was just like, there was no like, we all knew what we were supposed to be doing, but there was no like, goals or like kind of set, like there's no direction really.
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff, a lot of stuff that would drive new revenue. Yeah, but it was kind of just like, go take whatever.
Yeah, get some structure.
Yeah. You want to talk about these, John?
Yeah, I think we should go through the list.
Cool.
And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things.
Yeah.
First thing, we're going to have a new about page.
We don't even have an about page right now.
We're going to have an about page.
On our homepage is like our two faces and like a stupid little bio about each of us, and that was it.
And I think that's gonna kind of be. I'm excited about this.
I am too.
Like,
Yeah, it's almost done.
Yeah.
it looks nice.
Yeah. It looks really good.
But I think it's something that we didn't really give much thought to initially when we were putting the website together.
Yeah. We actually had a meal with someone that like sold us on this idea of like crafting your own bio, like about you personally, and like hiring a professional to like write your CV. We both just like wrote it off as like, like I don't know.
It's funny though, like I've like he kind of planted that seed in my head.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it, and like, because when we were doing like the Emoji Mask stuff, like we kind of get press, like a little bit of press, and like it was interesting seeing like these journalists just like repeat things that you have written about yourself, like on your like Twitter bio or like on our current website.
Yeah. Or they pull like super old stuff. You're like,
right.
I really don't want that in there.
And it's funny how big of an effect just having good content like there has, where you just kind of see the effects of it.
Yeah.
So we were even talking about like hiring our favorite like writer, like author, like science fiction writer.
To like write the company's like story.
Like just
basically.
like craft it in a way that's like compelling and just very, very interesting and cool. Obviously it's the same story, whoever writes it, but some people just have like a knack for like telling a story in like a really compelling, interesting way.
Yeah. Because otherwise, without that, like without having a page where it's just like all condensed and in this this cohesive format, you're just pulling from like, little facts from our blog posts or like stuff we tweet or like old Crunchbase information.
Even just like what Need One is and like the model and how it works.
That's
like,
the other really important thing.
We don't have that anywhere.
Publicly, right.
Like if you read every single one of our blog posts and listened to every single one of our podcasts, you could probably piece it together.
Yeah.
But just having it just like out there in the world, like this is who we are, this is what we do, I think is going to be huge. I think it's going to make a big difference. I'm looking forward to like seeing like kind of a before and after.
Yeah. So it's like who we are.
Before and after, as far as
like before about page and after about page.
Oh, right. And just the difference of press or how things
or just
are
like
structured
like
that.
people, because like people don't even know what we do really.
Yeah.
Like they know that we have these like 4 things, but it's like
they don't understand
I
the
don't know.
vision.
Exactly.
The vision isn't there.
Right, totally.
To them, yeah. So the page is going to be like, what is it right now? What's the first thing?
Yeah, so
it's
it
like
goes,
the vision of the company.
Yeah, quick vision, goes through who everyone is, goes through like a timeline of how Need Want
Oh, that's
started,
gonna be cool.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And then just sort of a more in-depth story
And, like,
of
Like
how things came
yes,
to be.
we'll have bios too of like leadership, which is 3 of us and Jason.
And the timeline will do things like for example, the first thing on the timeline I think is like how
You
we
and
and
me
Marshall met.
flirting on Twitter.
And it like links to the first tweet that we sent to each other.
Yeah.
And then
and,
he
like,
DM'd me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be cool. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. Second thing, we're gonna relaunch Peel, which I'm excited about.
Yeah. Entails redesign, a few extra SKUs, sourcing Android, some other stuff.
Because we haven't touched Peel since it launched like 2.5
Yeah,
years
it's still
ago.
like a standard theme.
Yeah, right.
This
That was
guy's
just
gonna make it.
That was just
make
the off-the-shelf
cool.
Shopify theme.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to kind of playing around with that. It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
New mod packaging.
Wow, a lot of design-related stuff.
Lot of design related.
Yeah. It's a good thing we have you.
And this is actually slightly more intense than that sounds. Like I think we're going to be kind of repositioning mods slightly.
And this is like prep for probably the next sprint of like actually relaunching mod.
This goes back to kind of the kiosk thing, where it's hard to sell something
Yeah.
that has, I don't know,
Yeah.
like mod in particular. It's tricky to quickly pitch it in like a one-line sentence.
Yeah. We've redesigned the packaging like 4 times now, but we have some really good data now to base it off of.
Yeah. So that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I wrote down phase 10 of Jarvis, which
Phase
I know
1.
isn't right. I just misread it. It's phase 1 of Jarvis, obviously, which basically means we're gonna
Beef up the back end.
beef up the back end, redesign it, rename
well,
it,
Rebrand it,
Yeah.
and
And then
and figure out the kind of logistical issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And begin trickling in new users. Right now, we're not letting in anybody right now.
Yeah.
So we're going to be hiring some full-time operators for Jarvis and getting that ready.
Yeah, step 1's just getting
Yeah.
everything really solid.
Yeah. That's
and working-
also
working
like
great.
foundation stuff for a next sprint of actually relaunching second.
This next one is a fun one.
Super boring, yeah.
Get accounting organized.
It's been a hodgepodge of like invoices go to you and then
Yeah.
It's like
this is like
And it's
just-
tricky having a bunch of
Yeah.
emoji masks, Peel, smart betting.
it's
all
so
this
funny.
stuff.
I just did my taxes and also I'm going through a mortgage application right now.
Yeah.
It's so funny, like having to explain like this to people. So it's like, wait, like how is this structured? Like, so
Oh,
you have like
business?
5 companies, but like there's one company that owns 5 companies, but like last year you owned like this % of them and now you sold it to this company. It's like
Yeah.
such a mess.
Yeah.
And, like no one, like having to explain it to these people makes
Maybe
me
we-
realize how crazy it is.
Yeah. Have we ever explained how the company was structured and how it was and now how it is?
I'm not sure. We could probably
Let's
touch
say
on
real
really quick.
quickly. So it was just we did one LLC together, and then we did 2, and then at 2 we made the name Need One. We're gonna be this like umbrella.
So at
But
that
Need
point,
One was
at that
just a
point
name.
it was just 50-50 the LLCs.
Yeah.
Need
yeah.
One wasn't actually a legal entity.
It's just
it was
a website.
yeah.
But the plan always was like eventually we'll like incorporate Need Want. That'll be a corporation that owns everything, and then we'll just have equity in the corporation.
Yeah.
And So it was that. And then at one point, I think we had 6 LLCs separate. We just had 50-50. And then we incorporated, and we did this weird like stock swap thing where like we just gave all of our shares to Need Want, but because we got equity in Need Want Inc., it was like, it was fine. And now they're all wholly owned.
Yeah.
And like when we issue equity, when you came on and stuff like that, like
Yeah. Makes it a lot easier.
It's just kind of
Makes it a lot
complicated
easier.
accounting
yeah.
situation.
And we're now finally going to be like W-2 employees as well. Like everyone will be, which will be nice.
Yeah.
Make taxes at the end of the year a lot easier.
Next one, new office.
Yeah,
We haven't
finally.
figured out. Yeah.
Don't want to like count our eggs before they're count our chickens.
You don't want to jinx. You don't want to
I
jinx.
don't
it.
want to jinx it. I'm ruin that.
So next point.
Yeah. We think we have a good one.
Yeah.
We have like everything lined up. We have the lease in our hands. We just got to figure out. When doing a lease, there's like so much stuff. Leases are always heavily favored towards the landlord.
Yeah.
And then you like come in, you're like, oh, that's really awful. Please take
Yeah.
that out.
We should talk about that in detail. Like
Once
next-
it's over, yeah.
Next episode.
Yeah.
And the last one, lower support times,
Yeah.
just across all products.
Yeah. I think support is really good so far, but the response times could be a lot better. Like I want someone to be able to email at like 3 a.m. on a Sunday and get like a reply within like 15 minutes
Yeah.
eventually. Right now the goal isn't that, but
So that's it. That's the
Yeah.
60-day goals. And I think it'll be interesting to, like every 60 days, reflect on the last 60 days.
yeah.
And also
see how
list
far we got.
the next 60 days.
Yeah. It'll be good for the podcast.
Yeah.
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 There's one more on here that we can't talk about, but probably later episodes we can, that we'll backtrack on.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Next thing. I got an Amazon Echo.
Yeah.
Did you get
I've
an
seen
Amazon
it.
Echo, Marshall?
No, I didn't.
It's funny. Marshall got an invite. Let me backtrack a little bit. Amazon Echo is this thing that Amazon released fairly recently. It's like kind of like a Siri built into a speaker type thing.
Yeah.
There's a wait list. You can't just buy them right now. As soon as they were launched or announced, I signed up to the wait list. So did you. I'm assuming you did as well. You got the invite first. And I guess you just didn't.
Well, you got one. I was just like, oh, like, I hope I get my invite soon.
Yeah.
Oh, and then you checked.
And then
Your
I
spam.
searched my spam
Okay.
or whatever, and I had an invite way before yours.
Mm.
And they expire after like a week.
Yeah.
And they won't let you, like, you're just back of the line again.
That's hilarious.
Mine
So-
comes this Thursday. I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about this because it's so cool. It's
Yeah.
so awesome. Yeah. And it's been getting mixed reviews. I saw a Verge article about it, I think yesterday actually. And they were basically like, it's awesome when it works.
I'm sorry. Will you say something?
Yeah.
One more.
Hello. Hello.
Okay,
hello.
okay. Sorry.
Good.
I thought I unplugged it.
Okay, good.
Okay.
They basically said like it's magical and awesome when it works, but like sometimes it doesn't work. And it because when it does work, the experience is so like magical and cool. When it doesn't work, it's that much more frustrating. You know.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't actually had that many problems with it personally. It's like
I thought you were saying it's like flawless for you.
it is more or less. So you can ask it questions. You can say things like, "I wish I had it here," because I could just demo it. If we do this in my apartment next week, I'll just
So if it was here, like say the volume levels that you'd have to like
Yeah,
talk to it.
so-
if it was like across the room.
So yeah, it has some kind of special speaker technology in it that listens to like the whole room. So you don't have to like with Siri sometimes it's just like you kind of talk naturally. So like if I'm talking to you,
Yeah.
if you talk to Siri, it's like
Siri.
like create a reminder like that, and so you just feel like just a retard. You just feel really stupid.
You have to enunciate quite a bit
Yeah.
with Siri.
Yeah,
Which the video you sent me seems like you don't.
you do, at least it's 10 times better than Siri.
Yeah.
At least for me.
I think it's because
my
he has a
strange
British accent. It picks it up better.
It was same for me when I was staying at your house.
It's like so. Here's the volume.
I
I'd be
think
like,
had a good mic.
So let me just walk you through a scenario.
Okay.
Coming from work after like a long day, it's raining outside. I've got my scarf on. I walk in, just kind of take my scarf off. I'm just like, Alexa, play some jazz music.
This is romantic.
Yeah, and she'll just start playing some jazz music for me.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It works
Where does
from
it play from?
Amazon Prime Music, which has a surprisingly big
Because you
library.
have a Prime, you just automatically have access.
So you can just say things like, you know,
Play Miles Davis.
play Miles Davis,
And it'll know.
and it'll just play Miles Davis.
Cool.
And you can be like, Alexa, skip this song, I don't like it. Or like, you know, like Alexa, set volume to 10, and she'll just start like blaring it. You can do things like, you can ask it a surprising number of questions.
Yeah.
Like I think I asked it, I forget the situation actually. I was having an argument with someone, it might have been you. Actually, you haven't seen it in action yet.
I saw it on video. You sent me a
Okay.
video.
I think it was Victoria.
And
But we
Victoria
were having an
sent me a
argument about
video.
whether someone was alive or dead. And I was just like, Alexa, like, when was so-and-so, when does so-and-so, like is this person alive? And she just knew, she just said, or like
Huh.
when
I
they were
remember
born
that.
and when they died.
Yeah.
Um,
That was with me, for the record.
okay.
It was that old actress lady who I can't think of what her name is.
Betty
she just
White?
yeah. It was Betty White.
Anyway,
Yeah.
it's really useful when you're cooking, because you can be like, Alexa, set a timer for 10 minutes, and she'll just do it.
Oh.
Could
I
she
didn't
do
even
like
think of
multiple
that. Yeah, that's
timers?
I don't know.
Because Green Chef, there's like 3 things you have to like watch
I
for
don't-
minutes.
I don't know about that.
easy.
I hope so. That would be cool.
Yeah.
She can do alarms, obviously.
She can add stuff to your cart.
She can add stuff to your shopping list.
She won't buy it.
She won't
yet.
buy it. She buys songs for you if you want.
Mm-hmm.
Because some songs aren't in Amazon Prime Music, but they'll just like play a sample. Like, do you want to buy this? It's like, yeah, and then it just adds it to your,
Yeah.
like,
The
play.
second that they'll turn it on, where it's not just like, oh, add this to my cart, and then later I have to buy it. That's just like order deodorant,
Yeah, yeah,
and it knows what deodorant for me is. That it's like I always order this one.
yeah.
That's cool.
What was the Amazon remote thing called? Like the wand? Do you
Oh
remember that?
yeah.
Yeah, I
That
do
was like
remember
a
that.
kind of similar type thing,
Yeah.
sort of.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're just sort of testing
Try it, yeah.
testing the market a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's similar, like, you know, pointed at your orange juice and it adds it to your cart.
Yeah. I would much
kinda
rather do
cool.
it with audio
Yeah, no, me too.
and not have to like hold down Siri and like activate it.
Yeah.
It's super slow too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted to talk about it because it's awesome. It's
Yeah.
cool. It's probably
And it's $99.
$99. It's probably the coolest tech product I've bought since the first iPhone.
That's
Wow.
a
It's a big
that's
Honestly, that's a
bold.
big
I
deal.
love it.
Yeah.
It's changed my life.
Has it?
Yeah, it's so cool. So yeah, if you have the opportunity to buy one, I would highly recommend buying one. It's only $100 too.
Yeah.
Or if you get an invite and you don't want it, I'll take it, please. Marshall@needone.com.
Cool. We have some listener questions. Do you
Yeah.
have them written down?
Yeah. So we have 2. What's our minute mark? Oh, we're good. So first one from Robert Lung. Would you say? I hate
Yeah.
butchering people's names.
That's good.
Okay, so he asked, effectively, how do we prepare for Kickstarter launch? So you can also chime in on this too,
Yeah.
even though you weren't around. So we did the Smart Bidding Kickstarter, and then we did the draft Kickstarter, canceled draft, ended up becoming mod. But you did the Lockatron whole launch.
Yeah. Helped out with that.
Yeah.
Which wasn't Kickstarter, but a
Yeah.
similar crowdfunding
Yeah,
type.
but
type
you guys
thing.
invented self-starter, right?
Yeah.
Can I just say something before I forget?
Yeah.
GoFundMe is bigger than Kickstarter.
That's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't believe you.
Yeah.
According
remember
to
the
some
facts.
article that I read, like last
That's
year,
like
Kickstarter
revenue
had,
and like growth.
it's based on like value of projects on the
like
platform.
dollars raised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kickstarter's growth last year was only 10%,
Mm-hmm.
and GoFundMe's growth last year was something like 270%, something like that. It's crazy, maybe even more, like in the hundreds.
And is
Yeah.
the main difference between the two of them? You can raise money for
Kickstarter is
You know,
super limited. It's
you have
like
disease or
yeah.
you know
Like it's more personal
new
stuff.
jerseys for your
Totally.
soccer team or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Just interesting. I didn't mean to
Yeah.
cut you guys off.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Is it also not just growth? Like last month or whatever quarter they were bigger. Is it total money raised over like both? Like Kickstarter's
They
probably
just did it
done
last
like
year,
billions,
which I
Okay.
think is fairly
Yeah.
representative
That's
of like
fair.
where it's going.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Um,
Anyway, yeah, the self-starter thing that everyone uses, David designed.
In a day.
which
In a day.
do you want to sum up with what that is and why you guys built it? Because you guys were going to do a Kickstarter.
Sure. Super brief overview. It was rejected from Kickstarter.
Lockatron was?
Lockatron was.
Yeah.
So we had to do our own. Whipped it up really fast. Was successful. We decided to open source the code that we wrote to be able to do that.
Which is like the page.
Which kind of became this
and
thing
like,
called Self-Starter. Yeah.
like having backers and it upping a number and yeah.
all that stuff.
And then you just plug in with Amazon Payments anyways, which Kickstarter used.
Yeah.
Kickstarter uses Stripe now. They just changed.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I think you can use Stripe too. Anyway, yeah, so that's what that is. And then a bunch of other sites kind of started using Self-Starter, and
Yeah. I think Tile was the big one too that used it.
Tile
right?
was on there, yep.
This guy.
So what's the question? How do you prepare for
We've been walking around this question for a while. Okay, so I don't know. There's a few things. One, people ask this question a lot. They'll like ask us to like sit down. There's like no secrets, in my opinion.
Oh, no secrets, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's just a lot of prep. It's the keys are like lining up press ahead of time, befriending journalists, having a really solid video, like put a lot of effort into the video.
And, yeah.
What
And
were you gonna
kind
say?
of personable
Yeah,
video a little as well,
yeah,
which I think has an effect. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, like the discovery doesn't happen on Kickstarter. You're not going to go put your generally you're not going to go put your project up on Kickstarter
right.
and get discovery and get all these backers just through doing that.
It's basically all your own like work.
Yeah.
And that's why like you'll get discovery on Kickstarter if you've already been doing well and you bubble up. But I think that's why like stuff like Self-Starter is now a pretty good option because you have to do all the work yourself anyways.
Yeah.
So I mean, having your own audience or building an audience ahead of time is like the best thing you can do. So I think for the smart betting one, we had collected quite a few emails 6 months leading up to the launch. We put
So you set up a landing page,
yeah.
had an email list.
Yeah. Oh, we tested headlines too. So at the top of the Kickstarter
yeah.
page, it's like smart betting dash never make your bet again. And that headline, like, you know, is everywhere. It's what people use. It's what the first thing that they see. And we tested that through Facebook ads. So we did a landing page. John built a little app.
yeah, I made that.
Yeah, you did. That like
With my
split
own bare
the.
hand. Yeah, so yeah, it would basically spit out like
Yeah.
a random one of 5 headlines that we'd kind of crafted.
Yeah.
Then it would track the conversion from people who saw that headline to people who entered their email address.
Yeah.
And
And
the
won.
one by far
Yeah.
won.
Yeah. Which, you know, having that locked in ahead of time was probably really important.
Yeah.
I bet we would have raised a lot less.
I mean, it was like double the conversion.
Yeah.
Which has to translate somewhat. I
We
think,
probably
into
spent
Kickstarter.
$150 max doing
Yeah.
that. Like you building that page and then ads was all it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. And it's worth putting in the effort of having some graphics on your
Yeah.
in your description, some good images, and
yeah.
Like if
Okay,
just
like-
doing that, if we take that at face value, which is like, let's say it was double the conversion, which I think it was at least.
Yeah.
If that translates to the actual Kickstarter, we would have raised half as much.
Right. Yeah.
It's interesting to think about.
Yeah, hugely crucial. The video, I put so much time into writing that video. Like, I mean, I loved it. I was like loving it leading up to it. And so I was super proud of it when we did
That was
it,
the biggest
but
expense too.
yeah,
the video.
we spent $5,000 on it.
Something like that.
I think it was 5.
which isn't
Like that.
too bad.
No.
No.
Not too bad.
There was like, those guys brought in like a crew of like 12 people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool actually to be
We,
like
you and
the
I,
talent for the day.
yeah, we
you know?
dreaded that day.
Yeah.
I think now having done this and like that video and other stuff, it would be 10 times easier, but yeah, that was not fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, the lining up press is pretty key. So we actually didn't have any articles lined up for day one for smart betting, but we had the list that we launched to, and we at least had all the journalists we were going to reach out to again on the launch day. If I remember correctly, was NPR the first big one that covered it?
I don't know if they were the first big one, but they were probably the biggest.
Yeah.
And they covered it fairly early.
The other crucial thing is like, let's say you have friends and family that you're gonna ask to put money in. Like pester them day one, be like, please, 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 if you're gonna put money in, put it in day one, because the more you can like get
Get that
day
momentum.
one, yeah, the momentum, it just looks like you're like the successful thing.
Yeah.
But
Most
then, like,
Kickstarters, I feel like you'd know if they're going to be successful right off
Yeah,
the bat.
yeah.
It's never like, it's kind of doing okay, and then after 20 days, it starts to
Yeah.
do great.
Yeah.
You
Plus,
just,
with like
Yeah.
the press stuff, there's the pitch of like, this is the product, this is why it's cool, please write about it. But then if you're like successful, that then like translates into more success, because it's like you'll get press because people wrote about it, because like little St. Louis startup, raises their goal in first so many hours or whatever.
I like the fact that both times we've done this, we created a list of all of our friends basically.
Yeah.
And then separated that list into, I think, 2 categories. One is like
Acquaintances.
Acquaintances, and one is like very, very close friends. Like
Yeah.
friends we know well enough to like write a personal email to. And then we would sit down well before, like a month before we actually launched this thing. All the good friends, you'd literally write like a very personal email to each person being like, hey,
I got a good
Julian,
one.
like I sent you one, like, how's it going, David? Like, just want to show like tie it to like our friendship and like really like make sure it didn't seem like a
Hey,
like
F name, crafted
exactly
default message.
So that was big, like being like very humble and just like asking for like feedback, I think was big, because it's like
They give you the link. You have like the page locked in, and we had a private link we could share with friends ahead of time.
Oh,
Yeah.
got it. Yeah.
And press, of course.
and just having those ready to kind of go on day one to, like you said, get that momentum going. Like if you have like what I liked about like our partnership at the time was like I had a network of friends, you had a completely separate network of friends.
Yeah.
So I maybe emailed like 50 close friends.
Yeah, and same. Yeah.
And just that alone, I think, made a big difference.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
probably like a very big portion of those 50 would back on both sides.
Right.
And that already is like, you're well on your way at that point.
Yeah.
And if they share and if they kind of like really get behind it too,
Mhm.
I mean, you know,
Yeah.
it doesn't take much more than that to
Right.
actually like kind of get a successful campaign going.
Yeah.
And that's, anyone can do that.
Yeah.
That's very easy.
You know what's weird? This is kind of a little bit separate. It's weird seeing articles that are like, someone goes to raise like 5K and they get 15K, and there'll be articles that are like, blah, blah, blah company like 3X is their goal.
Do you think that still
And it's
happens?
like a big
though?
deal. I don't know. I just remember seeing articles
remember
like
seeing
that
that
and just
too.
being like, well, that's
Yeah,
like, why don't I
like-
just put it as like $1
Yeah.
and raise
Yeah.
$100?
15,000x. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'm the
just
only
funny.
one. I agree. Yeah. There was a lot of that. Like some of the press we got locally was kind of funny along those lines. It kind of,
Do you think it's worth having a higher goal?
No.
Or a
That's the
lower
other
goal?
thing.
Lowest goal.
Is have it as
Yeah.
low as possible. Yeah. Whatever it is the like minimum to make the thing, because of course you don't get the money if you don't hit your goal.
And people's motives aren't like, at least my motives aren't, oh, I'm like gonna back this product to like hit this higher goal. Like I want to help it out. I mean, kind of, but I'm just like, this is a cool product.
I want this.
I want it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think Kickstarter's like not dying, but do you think that whole like, it seemed like last year there was all this like kind of growth, like it was like, very kind of like new and exciting thing. When I say last year, I mean, I guess 2014 and 2013. Like, it
last
seemed like
couple
this thing that
years.
was like getting traction.
Yeah.
But recently, I don't know. It doesn't seem as like people are kind of like burnt out on it now. I feel
Well,
like.
if we were to do another crowdfunding campaign, I would do.
Just your own.
I think so.
But do you feel like crowdfunding in general is so like, it's kind of has somewhat of a bad rep now, I think. Like, there have been so many kind of failed projects, like projects that like haven't delivered, like all this stuff. Like, do you think that like consumers are just kind of like, I'm just gonna wait until it launches?
Yeah, I mean, from our own experience, like smart betting hasn't gone smoothly manufacturing. Like we've had a lot of trouble with manufacturer, and I would say like line up,
Yeah,
just
get
like
that all down.
vet your manufacturer like crazy. That's the biggest thing after. Like that's the hardest thing is delivering on. Like I'm glad we didn't raise crazy out of the park because we had a lot of manufacturing trouble that we're still trying to wrap up and spin up with new manufacturing.
Yeah. I think
And-
everyone's expectations are kind of getting adjusted on both sides.
Yeah.
One is like, smart betting or whatever. It's
a lot
like,
of times it
oh,
doesn't
it
hit the
takes
timeline.
longer than I thought.
Yeah.
And from a consumer standpoint, you're not going to get your product
Yeah.
right when you hit your goal.
Yeah. I
Generally,
think a lot of
there's some-
vaporware was on there.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, this is awesome. And it does like millions of dollars. it's just like not possible.
That was a big problem they had for a while, and I think they actually like kind of made a big effort to kind of change their terms, like kind of get away from some of that stuff.
Yeah, you guys got caught in that. That's why I think now, like 6 months later, you could have been on Kickstarter, and they were saying no to you guys because they went super far one way and then kind of loosened it back up.
They definitely loosened up. I think maybe because maybe they weren't doing quite as well as they thought, or they needed more products.
I'm sure.
But they widened the scope of products that they'll allow.
I think it was a mistake for them to do the like projects only. Like to be on Kickstarter, you'll get denied if it's like not a project that has an end goal of like we deliver X or this play happens or whatever. Which was, I think, like that was their original vision. Well, I think it was
more like
an
art project and stuff like this.
Yeah. Like I think it was awesome to start with that, but I think they should have parlayed that into something bigger. I still think it's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Like that model
definitely
is still the best way to vet like your product idea as an entrepreneur. Like, you know, the idea of like Kickstarter companies where like, you know, it really was about 10 grand to launch smart betting to see if anybody wanted it. And it would have been 50 grand of our own money to like build it and then try to like start marketing to people.
Yeah. All right, question.
That's been drinking beer.
Question number 2. No, I had a little bit.
Okay,
next question.
Next and final question.
I have the question. I don't know who sent the question in.
His first name is Mitesh.
Yeah, Mitesh.
Yeah.
Mitesh asks, how do we come up with product ideas? And I thought that was an interesting one to talk about.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of roughly one of 3 ways.
What are the 3 ways in your mind?
So one is like you just sit down and like deliberately try to have a good idea. Like, and we kind of did this with a notebook of like, you brought a notebook home, like threw it down on the table. We're like, how do we make this better? And we just started like spitballing back and forth.
How did that start though? Did you just saw a notebook and you forced it?
Here's what happened.
I know what happened. Yeah.
I was at Staples getting some copies for some like smart betting incorporation documents.
Yeah, it was the first time I was in town.
And they had this, they saw those custom stamps.
Yeah.
They made this like just wad of paper with like a binder, just like test the stamps out. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, like the size and the thickness of that like wad of paper, I was just like, oh, that's cool. Like, can I buy this?
You were also thinking like you could brand it as like this infinity notebook.
Yeah,
which is just like
that kind of came later. Came later. So at that point, I was just like, hey, like, can I buy this? And the guy was like, no, because it was like it wasn't for sale.
Yeah.
He was like, you can't buy it, but I guess I can make you one. So he like, giving me this really confused look, just like walked away, like made me just this like wad of paper with like a ring binder in it. I paid for it. And that's why I went back and threw down on the table in front of Mark.
So it started from you observing something.
We both.
It wasn't just.
It wasn't like. It was just like, this is kind of a cool form factor for a notebook.
We both like it was. It was obvious we both used paper notebooks.
Yeah.
We like had that in common. We were both snapping pictures of every page, like
that part of it came later. Like the kind of finding the problem that we had, and we're just like, well, we could do this.
We were just thinking about notebooks a lot at that point. Just like, how do you make it better? Because I think it was like smart betting. The idea was kind of like, it's this thing we've used for a super long time, hasn't improved, and there was a huge parallel with like paper notebooks. This thing that's been around for a super long time, been like zero innovation in it.
Yeah.
There's got to be like some things you can improve upon. So that's one. It's just kind of like deliberate. We kind of touched on this. Is like looking for problems that you have that you want to like scratch your own itch.
Are we ever looking for them though, or are they normally just like, I have this problem.
Yeah.
How could I solve this? Very rarely
I
are we
think the best
looking for problems. Would you agree?
Right.
Yeah.
I would say the best thing is like look for. Well, I would say look for problems, but I don't know that we necessarily do that.
It's just being open to when you're just living your life.
Like, this is a friction.
Be open to
this is weird.
Thinking about things in your daily life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just be observant, I think.
So what's the third way?
Take off the showers. And this guy's case, take lots of baths.
Take lots of baths.
Yeah, baths are great for brainstorming. Oh, the last one actually, I guess there's 4,
Oh,
is the weekly brainstorming session that we don't do anymore. But we did for a brief period of
which
time.
was great. Plus the thing is,
sorry.
it's okay. Plus the thing is, you can get the seed of an idea, kind of be like, oh, I think this is like sort of a problem. I wish I had some way to innovate on it. And then I start talking to you, and I start talking to you, and from that comes like all sorts of great ideas, and it kind of spiders out into something real.
Yeah.
Airstar was that way, right?
Airstar was like that.
Yeah, that came out of that.
A lot of
weekly
ideas we
brainstorming
have
session.
for second Jarvis kind of came from
Just
that.
like having drinks, hanging out,
Yeah.
playing a
Just-
game.
This is like a kind of general mindset, you think? Just like,
Yeah.
just always kind of being on the lookout.
If
always,
I didn't
like,
have
trying
anyone to bounce ideas off of, that I'd have trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think that answers the question.
Yeah.
I hope. And that's it. That's episode 13.
Yay!
Yeah.
If you have any questions or comments or anything, you can always drop us an email at hello@needone.com. I'm at John on Twitter.
I'm at Marshall with 1 L.
I'm at Digit on Twitter.
How much would you pay to have at David?
Uh,
There's only one in the world. You own it. It's like real estate.
$4,000.
How much would you sell at Digit for?
Almost no money.
Really?
I almost wouldn't sell it.
$10,000.
That's starting to get into debatable range.
You have at David Myers as your backup.
It's not very good though. Maybe 10.
You could probably get 10K for it. There's that company called Digit
Yeah.
that just raised a load of money.
Yeah.
You could probably get 10K for it. Anyway,
Sorry.
see you later.
See ya.
Bye.